I recently made these beads from some water bottles, and I had some folks ask me about the DIY bead roller that I made. So in this video, I'm going to show you the quick, easy way to make a very inexpensive bead roller that comes together very quickly. And you can use these simple bead rollers to roll paper, plastic, aluminum, and more. To make any bead roller, you're going to need to start with a cotter pin. And cotter pins sound very confusing, but they're actually quite simple. I bought this set of 500 plus cotter pins in different sizes for around $5. And so you can find them in your hardware stores. As near as I can tell, they're used a lot in automotive projects to keep nuts and bolts from coming apart. But we're going to use them in an entirely different way. So cotter pins come in a lot of different sizes, but this is the basic shape that you want. It'll have an eye at the end, and then you'll have two pieces of metal that are rounded on the outside and flat on the inside and sort of pinched together. And your material will slide between the two pieces of metal, and then you will turn the metal bar and roll up your bead. So you probably are going to end up with extra cotter pins because I've always seen them sold in sets, but they're very affordable even if you buy a set, and you can make different sizes of bead rollers with them as well. The other thing I'm using is some UV resin. You need something to hold the cotter pin into your handle. So the easiest thing I've found to use is the UV resin. And the last thing you need is your handle. And for my simple bead roller, I just used a Bic pen. You need to be able to remove the ink portion of the pen, and you also need to be able to get the back end of the pen open, because what you want to do is you want to drop your cotter pin through the handle and have the tip come through, but have the eyelet, because it's wider, stay inside of your handle. So you can see that it drops through, but it catches and it doesn't come all the way through. But of course it's still kind of wobbly. So that is where the UV resin comes in. So you want to make sure that you have your cotter pin coming straight out of your handle so that it's nice and plumb, so that when you're winding your beads you won't kind of go cockeyed. So that's the trickiest part, is to just get it to be coming straight out of your handle. And then you're just going to use the UV resin to secure the pin in place. If you've never used this UV resin, it comes in handy for a lot of little projects. If you need a little spot of glue that's going to be hard. I really like E6000 glue for a lot of projects, but you don't want to use E6000 glue for this project because E6000 glue is a little bit flexible, and you don't want a flexible glue for this project. So what I'm going to do is make sure that my cotter pin is in there nice and straight, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of my resin glue right inside that pen. And the resin, this UV glue will not cure right away, so you might end up pushing your pin off kilter a little bit while you're getting the glue in there. And you just want to check to make sure that it's straight, and you're going to add about 10 seconds of UV light to cure the glue. And when you're done, your pin should be secure and not wobbly. If it is, you can add a little bit more glue and a little bit more UV light until you get your pin so that it's not wobbling anymore. Now for this one, I just added some glitter because I thought that was fun. So I'm probably going to go ahead and add a little bit of different colored glitter to this piece, and then once I'm done, I'm going to use the UV glue to glue the cap back in, make sure everything's secure, and I'll have another finished bead roller. So that's how simple that project is. You really only need the three things. You need the cotter pin, some kind of glue or securing mechanism, and you need a handle. So I thought I would share with you a couple of other ideas that I thought might work for the handles of the bead rollers. You can certainly use a clickable pen as well, as long as they open in the center, and you can get the ink out and you can drop your cotter pin through once again. Now you are limited, of course, by the tip, so I think this one might be even a little bit smaller. But as long as it drops through and catches and you can secure it, this would work for a bead roller as well. Another idea I had was to use this little, it's empty, but it used to hold an eraser that you just could click through. So again, here you can see that once the cotter pin is dropped in here, it's wobbly, but if you use some glue to secure it, you would have a handle for a slightly larger cotter pin for a bead roller. And then I think you could, this still has glue in it, but I think that anything with a kind of tapered or cone tip, you could also use just by cutting off the opening to fit the size of your cotter pin, and then you'd have a little bit of that tube portion to catch the eye of the pin, and you could have a nice big grip on your bead roller. So there's a lot of different things that you can use as handles. You can also substitute out your UV resin for some other way of holding the cotter pin in place. But the one thing you will want to be sure to have for your DIY bead rollers is at least a couple of sizes of the cotter pins. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. If you haven't already, be sure to click that subscribe button, and you can check the description box for a place to sign up to receive the Upcycle Design Lab newsletter. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you back here soon in the lab for my next experiment.